Hello and welcome to 100% Real with Ruby. Today I am joined by one of my most amazing transformative clients, and we've just hit a breakthrough point about 2 weeks ago, really. And it's only when she actually was able to take a step back from her work that she was able to reflect on all of this stuff and realize, wow, I am a million times from where I started. But the thing is, she didn't really start when she started with me, because she was going to sign up and I'm like, I know I can help you. I know I can help you. I've helped many people before. No. I need someone local. This is what I do. This. No, I think I'm happy with my decision. And then she went through, I don't even know how long she will tell her story, but she went through months of trying all these different things, spending, I would say wasting, not spending, wasting more money, wasting more time, wasting more stress, wasting more energy, mentally and physically, trying all these different potions. But her gut health got worse, her blood markers got worse, her cholesterol went shit, and she was left worse off than she started, to the point where she was flat out on the couch for 3 whole weeks in the period of time where she was meant to be having her only break from work. So with me here today, we have Sharon, and I'll let you introduce your little story. And
okay, hello everyone. Thank you, Ruby, for that intro. I guess, where does my story start? Because I really don't know where it really, where to start this story, I guess. And I want to start off with probably most recent with regards to my health and some of the issues that have been happening to me. So this is going back a few years ago, when I really had a lot of health issues. I had a lot of gut issues. I had a lot of niggly pains, like I had a lot of problems with my knees, especially lower back. And I had been used to training with a personal trainer, and I did like the idea of a personal trainer watching me doing what I needed to do. And I know that at the time, one of my trainers was leaving, and that's when I first reached out to you, Ruby, and was looking online. And I didn't know, because I was so used to having a trainer with me in case I did something wrong. And I've been training for years. I just didn't trust myself, So I put that away for a little while, but I'd been watching in the background for quite some time. And I guess you have to go through your own journey to actually come around to a lot of realizations. So it was a couple of years later, and in that time, my gut health went from bad to worse to really terrible. I was diagnosed with SIBO, which is a small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. I went on so many, I went down there. I remember contacting you saying that I'm going to see this nutritional person, Dr. Advanced Nutrition, or whatever it was. Cost me $1,500, but that's just for one session with him. That's not with all the supplements that he loaded me up with. And also all the strict diet that I had to follow, which basically removed a lot of carbohydrates and a lot of sweets from my diet, which was just really, really, really hard it was hard to maintain. And I didn't enjoy life, because I wasn't eating proper food, wasn't eating proper nutrition. And of course, I'm slogging away at the gym as well, because I'm still wanting to, I'm at a certain age in life where you want to feel good about yourself. So I kept doing that, and that's why I kept injuring myself. I kept, it was just really not a great time for me. And also the stress that I was going through just went through the roof. I was in a really terrible relationship at the time, and that was over a couple of years that things just got worse. Work, because I have a very high-paced role that I do in an organisation, and that's very stressful as well. We're going through a lot of stress there. My boss had left, and then someone else had taken on board, and I wasn't coping at all. And I guess I got to a period where I tried all sorts of lotions and potions, went through different diets, and I wouldn't say that I didn't think that I was a diet person, going on these restricted diets, but it was more around trying to fix my gut health because it was just affecting all areas of my life. So I did try GAPS, I did try paleo, I did try the SCD diets, the specific carbohydrate diet, you name it. I tried it, and I tried all different lotions and potions. As I said, I spent a lot of money on trying to correct what was going on. And I guess that's when I got to a point where I reached out to you, Ruby, because I'd been following you for quite some time, and I like your approach that is it just gets straight to the point, very blunt, straight to the point. There's no messing around. And what you offer as a service as well was really enticed me, because it was not just, and I've been with a lot of good gym people, trainers, but they just focused on the one thing, and that was on training, and that was it. Some of them may provide you a little bit of nutritional guidance, but to me, it was just awful. It wasn't really enjoyable, and I don't think starving yourself to death and not enjoying food and not having any pleasure there, I just wasn't getting the results. So that's, I came on board, and that's where things started to, be a 360 for me. I started to feel a lot better in myself. I'm actually training now, and I'm enjoying training, and I train on my own. You do my programming for me, and I really love that. I really enjoy getting in there, and I'm feeling a lot more confident in my own skin when I rock up. And, here's this 50-plus-year-old lady. She's now wearing little shorts in the gym again. So, that's really cool. My food, I've got to say, we've had our, we've been going backwards and forwards because I've got a lot of food allergies as well. So working through those, I know that we went through a bit of a restriction diet, but it wasn't restriction as in, that I'd had before, where you feel like you're starving. It was more about creating calm, just trying to calm the gut down, calm this down. So, now I'm actually enjoying what I'm eating. I get pleasure out of my food, and I don't want to deviate too much from what you give me, because I actually enjoy it, which is a good thing. And I love all the planning and getting all prep stuff, because I am a bit of a foodie as well. I do love, having things on plan, on board, know what I'm eating. That's just the way my life is. I like to be, disciplined in that sense. But I think the big thing that it all boils down to is stress. And that's been the biggest thing, being able to connect all the dots together. My stress levels impact everything in my life. In fact, my health, everything, my sleep, even though I do sleep well, but is it good quality sleep? That's the thing. And since I've got my little sleep, my little Garmin, I can now measure, and I know it's probably not accurate, but measure the deep sleep, which I know that I am getting the deep sleep. There was one time I didn't, and boy, did I feel it the next day. So, just being able to put things into a plan, with the guardrails that you give me, has been able to create so much more freedom, and expansion in my life, that I can feel better in myself. And I know that this is only the start of the journey for me. And, where it will take me, it's just to the moon and back. So I'm really, really grateful for your guidance there on that. But, as I said, health issues have been a constant in my life for a very long time. And it's like, where did you want me to start? With the gut issues, but I've also, prior to that, was I had a lot of issues around, I've got a thyroid condition, an underactive thyroid, so my energy levels do fluctuate. That's why I like to train, because it helps my energy as well. So that's been, it's been a really big learning curve, and I'm really, really grateful for your guidance and your coaching.
Everything she said, it's like, it's so all-encompassing, and I'm gonna string out little bits here and there of what she said and try to provide a little bit more of a string through flow, because like, as she said, we are only really just getting started now because we've only just had that breakthrough. And it's got to a point where, hey, we can actually push a little bit harder for 4 weeks now and incorporate some higher stress cardio, which we couldn't actually do before because HIIT, like the intense interval training, is a massive stress on the body. And the last thing you want to do in an already dieted body, regardless of whether it's actually dieted in terms of calories being so low, but with her, it was nutrients being so low as well. And the gut in itself is a massive stress on the body. And until all of this stuff is healed, you cannot just keep adding more and more to the stress bucket. Now, she started off saying how she kept injuring herself, which came as soon as she started actually trying to fix her gut, because what did they try to do? They removed all of these different things. So not only is there the stress of the gut, there's the stress of the diet itself, then there's the stress of not having enough fuel, not having enough nutrients. So if you're constantly getting injured, maybe you should actually try fixing your nutrition. Like, people do not understand how much nutrition and training come together, because if you're not giving yourself enough building blocks, as in the food, you're not going to recover. You're actually going to have a lot more injury. You're going to take a lot more time to heal injuries, and they probably won't even heal at all because you're not giving yourself enough nutrients, which actually I will touch on this as well, which I'll bring back at the end so you can talk on it. When she came to me, it was only for diet, but then injury, she still kept going through those things. So she finally ditched the group training, ditched this added stress on her body, because what she was doing was huffy, puffy, fluffy, buffy, dumb. I was going to say dumb shit because I'm blunt. It was huffy, puffy.
There was an ego attached to that. I'm still got it.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. Like, that's the thing we can't let go of, the ego of this worked for me before, or you think it worked for you before because it's your comfort zone. No. I've been doing this for years. I know what I'm doing. So you keep doing the same shit that keeps getting you stuck in the rut. And this also can be related to chronic dieters. Like, I know someone who is also in the same age bracket as you, who she refused to actually commit to something different. So she kept doing short little plans here. Maybe this will help, but I still want to do this because this works for me. Yeah, it doesn't really look like it's working for you, and you're not a special snowflake. But back to that, like, she came on for the coaching now with the training, and she has not mentioned to me once that her knee is in so much pain she can't do an exercise. Her shoulder is in so much pain she can't do an exercise. And when we started out, I usually throw a workout that I think someone can handle, but it's not their actual workout for the first week. Unless all goes well, then yes, we'll continue on that, which is the case with actually 80% of my clients. They can still continue the same workout that I started with. But a lot of them, I don't really know how they train and what they're capable of. So if I get feedback, which I'll talk about later, if I get feedback on that first week, if I get videos that show me faulty movement patterns, then I overhaul my whole strategy, put that plan in the back burn for later on when she's more capable of it, which that initial plan will come back eventually. But we changed it completely. Only 2 of the days have pretty much stayed half the same. The others have had to be completely reshuffled because her knee couldn't tolerate it. Her movement pattern was faulty, and she didn't have any bracing in her core. And every movement is a core exercise. If you do not use your bracing, if you do not use all that, you are going to get injured. So that was something else we focused on, which sadly not a lot of PTs and trainers focus on. Like, every single time I talk to someone about their trainer, not a single one mentions how much effort they put into bracing and technique around that, which is why strength coaches kind of have the upper hand when it comes to PTs, because they know the importance of bracing. But stress and nutrition, it impacts everything. And trainers, like PTs, trainers, they are not educated in this. And I know a lot of trainers that then go into some nutrition sometimes, and they still go by the textbook. And not everything is textbook. Like, there is so much nuance to everything. And I hated being a PT. I hated it with all of my guts because I was someone who was very, very results focused. I wanted to get people results. And yeah, I was getting people results with their training when I was a PT, but I didn't feel like I was enough or doing enough or worthy enough as a PT because to me, training is only part of the puzzle. And I couldn't do so much with the food if I saw them twice a week, 3 times a week, because I like, it's not in my paycheck to then check on them every other day of the week or to make sure they're doing so well or to do these check-ins with them. And I hated that. And that's what a lot of trainers are like. It's almost like dietitians. Like you see a dietitian sometimes for certain medical reasons, like diabetes or whatever. Like they are specialized for that. You only see them that once a week. But what's happening with all the in between? Like there's those contact points, there's the support. Like this isn't a physical journey. As Sharon said, anything but physical at the start. It is so mental. And until we actually address the stress, which was the first thing we did, and it's what I'm all about, like it's mindset first, it's health first. And on the last podcast, we dive deep into this, and you would have heard Brandon talk about how important managing stress is, how important knowing women's like your own physiology as a woman is when it comes to body composition and building muscle and losing fat and your gut health. Because coaching is so much more than just what you do in the gym. Stress impacts everything. And
don't I know that?
Like I said about our breakthrough, this all came from the mastermind that I ran as well. Like this is why I put it up as free training, and it's expired now if you missed out. So you'll have to join the team. But it's really important to not focus on what you're trying to avoid. Oh, I'm just trying to do this to manage my stress. Or I'm just trying to stop using the word stress. I don't want to hear it. Instead of thinking about what you don't want to feel, start thinking about what you want to feel instead. What can you do instead? What do you desire to feel? Okay, cool. What can we do to get that way? And stress is always going to be there, regardless of whether you like it or not. Brandon said that too. It's about being more resilient to it. It's about learning to manage it. Because if you let stress take over, it's going to impact your thyroid even more. The thyroid impacts your sex hormones, which also impacts your ability to burn fat and to build muscle. And as you get older, you need to actually put more effort into strength training. And that's the next episode that I'm talking about with Brandon in the importance of building muscle for women's hormones. Now, the shorts. Oh my God, the day this woman wore shorts, you should have seen my face. Like, I'm that hashtag wear the damn shorts, because we're like, life is too short to worry about all these different things. Like, why are we, the worst thing we can do in our life is stay hidden in a shell, stay hidden in the shadows. I wasted a lot of my life doing that. And I can think of many regrets that I don't regret in the same sentence, because I learned a lot from that. Like, I severed a lot of relationships in high school, especially with high school boyfriends, because I didn't have any confidence in myself. I never accepted a compliment ever until about 2015. Maybe actually 2017. No, 2015. Sorry, 2015. I'm not doing things. 2015. It wasn't until 2015 that I finally accepted a compliment. But the biggest thing that was the change for me is the question, do you even love yourself? And this was said at one of my family friends' house across the road. I burst into tears and I stormed out of the house and I ran all the way down the road. I didn't even run home. I just sat there for hours. And this is the thing, like, we are so busy doing, being. We never really put anything into ourselves. And that was just a roundabout way of saying training, like, body composition is so much more than this, because that impacts your relationship with food. It impacts your relationship with other humans. It impacts the way that you go about your day. And if you keep putting yourself into this shell, you are holding yourself back from potential. Like, there is just so much more to this. But anyway, back to you with the more streamlined into what it impacts you. But it really is, like, as soon as you started having that confidence in the gym, how much more has your strength improved? How much more has your gut health improved? Because you're not as stressed, you're not as wound up about all of these little tiny things that make such a little difference in the grand scheme of things. So I'll let you continue on from that point and a little bit more.
Yeah. Certainly, you know, and I remember like the anxiety this year specific, or not this year, last year specifically, with all the gut issues and all the stress, anxiety was the biggest thing. And as you know, as I shared with you recently, that I had leave earlier on in the year, and it just impacted me so much that I was on the lounge for like 2 or 3 weeks on my leave, and I didn't want to move. I didn't want to, you know, and I've lived probably really privately. I don't like anyone to know my business. So, you know, it's ever been hard for me to get up on Facebook and, you know, and sort of write the things you want us to share, because it's about being vulnerable, I guess, and it's, you know, really starting to share how you're feeling inside. So, yeah, for me, I you know, I notice these little things, and, you know, that's when you know that you're improving in all areas of your life. You know, I know with writing things down, you know, when I go into the gym and I'm seeing my, you know, my weights are going up, and I'm feeling, you know, I'm not breaking down, like my body's not, you know, I'm not getting as injured as much as I used to. Stretching and doing my, you know, my trigger ball is really important with all of that. But it's really focusing on yourself, you know, the internals, because we, you know, and probably I haven't shared this with you either before, Ruby, but I did years and years ago train for a competition, because that's what I wanted to do. Even though I had all these health issues, I got to a place and I trained my little ass off to get up on stage. And it was the hardest thing that I've ever done. And when I got there, I went, is that it? It was, and I couldn't maintain it afterwards. There was just no feeling of satisfaction. But now, you know, with just celebrating those little wins, the, you know, how you're feeling, how you're sleeping, how you're responding to life, you know, I'm starting to get out of I'm starting to enjoy life again. And when you keep focusing on those little things, you create more of those little things. You know, you keep creating more and more and more, you know, so I am starting to feel a lot more confident in myself. I'm starting to feel a lot more, I wouldn't say less stressed, but, you know, resilient to stress, I guess, would be a key word there. Also, you know, there's other things. I want to get out and I want to actually experience life now. I don't want to be, you know, locked up at home anymore, you know, hidden away. I want to actually go out there and have a life.
I love
have friends.
Part. I have that. I love that part. I actually want to ask you a question to
go.
A little bit more. So see how she's come from this person that was so private, not wanting to involve her whole life. Like, even her job is like a private little job. She has 2 little private little like shells that keep her in her shell. Like, there is no actual let's go and make the most of life. Let's thrive. And can we just get a reminder on the fact that she is not someone who's 30. She is in her 50s. And now she is actually finally experiencing life. Yes, the best time to have started was maybe a couple of years ago. If not last year. If not last year, then yesterday. But hey, it is still never too late. And one of my biggest things now is, if you keep putting off for tomorrow what you can do today, you will end up with a whole lot of empty yesterdays. And empty days kill more than actually being out there thriving, being fearful, being scared of what ifs. That stuff is great because it grows you. And she mentioned at the very start, She failed, she struggled, she bit her own bum many times, she stabbed her own foot many times. That's what it took for her to finally come to me. And you need to forgive yourself. Forgive yourself for not knowing better before. Forgive yourself for never having that before, because that is what taught you, and that is what brought you to now where you are. Now, my question to you is, you mentioned that this is actually really good because it's stemming off my whole reel on the fact that I was the least confident person ever. I let that hold me back in life. Now that like people do not understand the sheer importance of actually using the inner circle group. And even if you're not a client listening to this, having like joining the inner circle and joining my coaching one, or joining a different support group that actually is growing with you, even your own coaching group, if you have your own coaching group, whatever it is, actually make use of it. Post in there, post your selfies, post your food photos, post every single little win, even if you're drinking 2 liters instead of 3 liters, but it's still better than your 1 liter. That's a damn win. Yeah, okay, cool, it's not 3 liters. Even if you got in 3 sessions instead of 4 sessions. Well, you've been inconsistent the last few weeks. You've only been getting 1 and then maybe 2. So that 3 session week is a massive win. So start celebrating these things, because you'll be left every single time you struggle saying, oh, I always struggle. Oh, I'm not made for this. Oh, this isn't for me. Well, of course it's not, because all you remember are all the times that you struggled, complained, and whinged about when it's not for you, instead of actually looking back on the wins. And something that I talk about a lot in my coaching is post it into the group, because what do I do when you struggle? I actually look for your past wins and I'm like, do you remember this? And because I save a lot of things, when it comes to on this day, for the girls that have been with me for years and years, I can only share with you that past if you've been public about it in the group. And I'm like, look where you were before, look what you can accomplish. And if you're currently struggling, that can help lift you up. If you're further from there, that can give you a good reminder of, oh my God, look how far I've come. I am doing so good. So there's all of that. But my question to you is, how much has your life changed since you started using the group, like I tell everybody to do, but they keep back or they're too shy, because there are still so many women in the inner circle that are so scared. So if you're listening to this and you're still refraining from posting that selfie, from posting that food post because it looks like the dog's breakfast, it's not about getting the likes, getting the dopamine hit of people being there. Because if you support others within your community, they will support you back. But if you're just going to do a random post and then shy away again, it's kind of hard to develop that relationship with the group. But it's changed her life. And I'm going to let her talk about finally biting the bullet and posting.
I know, I am such a private person.
Not anymore.
But I actually, I really enjoy it. I really do enjoy it. I'm getting out there and, like, as you said, my meals are like dog breakfasts sometimes, but you can see the nutrients on my plate, like I'm really showing, look at what I'm doing. Look at all the greens that I'm eating now. I guess you have to ask yourself, why are you holding back from creating more connection in life and more community around you? I mean, this is a really brilliant platform to be able to be in a safe space where you're with people that support your journey. They want you to win, so use it. That's what it's there for. And I know that at first it took me a while to get into, because I kept getting the little, are you going to post something? Post something. But now I will, and I do, and I love doing it. And and there's people on there that I do know from being in the gym before. So, we get to communicate with one another and, see each other's progress. And it's really beautiful, when someone can actually see you starting to blossom and shine. And so it's a good space for you to really, start trusting again and developing friendships, because, that's what it's all there for. And that's what Ruby's there for, to support and guide us, but also to have all of our a community that want you to win. And, you know, we all want the best out of everyone that's there. So the smallest, the littlest wins, you know, even if it's just not, if you think it's nothing, then post it. Doesn't matter. Just do it.
I want to toot your horn a little bit here as well, because something that I see a lot, and a very close friend said this to me because I was talking about my coaching a lot with her when we were away, is the thing is, you always tell me the right thing, Ruby. You always know what to say. You always know how to fix things. You always know the solution to things, but sometimes I literally can't hear it. Like, you're saying it, I'm hearing you, but I can't hear it. And I can say all the things. I can tell you all the things to do. Sometimes you need to hear it a million times, but sometimes it's still never going to register, because the reason Sharon is a completely different person today, but still this is only the beginning, but that's where she came from. You can come from the deepest bottoms and still transform yourself, but the reason she got here is because she did the work. She listened to what I said. She showed up in the group. But it's not just about the group itself. It's, if you heard before I interrupted her before, it's now she actually wants to get out there and live her life. She's never wanted to do that before. Now she's wearing the shorts. She's training on her own. She's doing all of these other things in life because, one, she did the work. I can give you all the tools, but you need to actually use them. Because what's the point of having a toolbox full of tools if you don't actually start using them? Then you'll start confusing yourself and not even knowing where to start, because you get so flustered in the meantime of having so much more work to do. You have all the tools for all of the jobs, but you are such in a flustered state that you don't even know where to move anymore. And that's why it's so important to celebrate those mini wins, to start taking action and to work on things one step at a time. Because then as soon as you get really good at that hammer, you can start using the drill. As soon as you get really good at the drill, you can start using the spanner, like different tools for the job. And like I said, different tools for the job. She's never been able to train the way she is right now. Like, she's actually doing things that caused her pain in the first week. She's actually able to do some sprint intervals now because she did the work before. And because of that, we are in an amazing fat loss phase right now. And she's not even restricted. She's not even restricted. There is so much food on her plate because, as you saw, it doesn't matter what your food looks like sometimes. She's full, she's satisfied, she flavors her food, she seasons her food. Her taste buds have changed in the weeks we've spent together, because it takes time for your taste buds to change. Because you can be so used to the sweet foods, the heavy fat foods, the fried foods. Like, what you eat changes your brain a lot. And this is a unit I'll be bringing into the inner circle soon. But what you eat changes your brain in so many ways. And that influences how your body then responds to training, to nutrition, to all of that stuff. But restriction without restriction. I want you to talk a little bit more about this resilience, because you were going on a really good path before I wanted to actually link it into the fact that the only reason you want to actually start living again is because you actually put yourself through the discomfort in the first place, posting when you didn't want to post, sharing things when you didn't want to share things, keeping things secret, but then actually making them public into the safe space. But now, how has that leaked into all these other areas of your life?
Well, you know, for me, having this time off to reflect has been really good, because I can now write down all the things that I actually want to grow in 2022. So it's been really, really good in that space. You know, I think the first thing, when you're not well, I know my circle of friends have shrunk. And when you've been going through a lot of trauma and, you know, whatever you've been going through, I didn't want anyone around. So now this year it's all about connection and, you know, going out and meeting more people and being part of groups and communities, you know, and building that friendship base, you know, so that when I want to connect with people, there are people there that I can actually go and have a coffee with or go to the movies with or whatever, you know, so that's been really good. And that's something I want to grow this year, especially. But also I've got a little business on the side that has been there, but I had it, I closed it down last year because of health. I couldn't go out there and I can't give energetically if I don't have anything left in the tank for myself. So last year I cut all that off. So this year again is about growing my little spiritual business that I have. So I'm really, really excited about, and that to me is what gives me my passion. That's what gives me so much joy in life. And so there's that as well. What else in work? So in work, becoming more resilient at work as well is really, really important. So because I do have quite a stressful job, being able to manage that so that I can actually handle what comes my way, and it's really about decluttering a lot of the stuff that is in my life that no longer serves me anymore, and just focusing on what does grow, what does help me to grow my passions in life. So yeah, there's a lot. I'm still writing my visions, my goals for 2022, but that's, they're some of the things that I want to focus on, is more growth and expansion and that sort of thing.
I love that. And people that put a time limit on anything in life will never, ever, 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 like, I am that certain, I promise you that it's never, you will never get your results. And actually, wait. We lie there. She had a timeline and she had to go on stage, but hey, what's next? She kept it for one day, but then she ended up in a place 360 degrees worse. Like, that's the thing. Like, if you put time limits to things, you can achieve them. But then after that, you are worse than you started, mentally and physically. So don't put time limits to things. Back to this topic, timeline on setting your visions. The vision sheet that I developed, I first wrote this in 2018, and it took me a whole month. Luckily, my business, well, I'm not going to say luckily. Luckily, I've grown to a place now where I'm not at that place. But I was able to cut off a whole month of doing the bare minimum to actually develop this, because it is what changed my life in 2018. Because I was always blaming and shaming, blaming everything else around me instead of myself, and shaming myself. We would never shame a friend. Why would we shame ourselves? Like, I was far into my growth, my development, my coaching, all that stuff, and I was still playing the blame and shame game myself. I was complaining more than I was being grateful. I was slugging away at the gym still. It wasn't until COVID that I started loving every single moment in that gym, because not only was I grateful for actually having a gym open, which I still am every single day, but I love training now because I don't have a timeline. I was always on a timeline, and I was always on a scale weight to make because of powerlifting. And trying to make that scale weight actually made me put on more and more and more body fat, which is crazy because that's stress, one. And two, it's the pressure of having to remain under there while trying to actually look my best at the same time. Because like, scale weight isn't indicative of how you look. Because I remember a time where I lost, this is going to be in a post later on, but I lost 5 kilos overnight for a powerlifting comp to make weight. I'll talk about it later in the group. But I lost 5 kilos overnight for that. And I looked so shit the next day. And I had to get someone to pick me up to take me to my weigh-ins because I had no energy. I couldn't think. I thought I was going to collapse. Like, there is so much that goes into a scale weight. And if you keep letting your life get dictated by waking up on the scale, like, people can say sensitize yourself to it, weigh yourself every day. But is that really a life to live? Letting yourself wake up every day. Here's the routine. Wake up, pee, wash face, weigh yourself. Like, what is that? Like, I had that realization. I had that realization at the start of this year. So I stopped weighing myself. But then as soon as we went into lockdown, I started weighing myself again, just because I needed to make sure I was maintaining within a range of 2 kilos. As soon as lockdown ended, I threw the scales out again because I don't want that. And I don't want to be dictated by a scale because it's not indicative of my progress. I knew that I wasn't going to really progress in lockdown. So that's the only reason I used it. And if I continue to let that to dictate the way that I train, the way that I do my nutrition, then I'm not going to get anywhere. But back to what you said about this. Okay, so stress, her gut health, all this stuff. It's not just that one, okay, this, that, the other. But the fact that she kept pushing down that route, and then the thing that she loved most got taken away from her because of her nutrition and her training. She didn't have that passion to then, like, what is life without passion? And I was thinking the same thing. I actually wanted to ask you about this because I don't talk about this stuff ever, but I am also someone that loves the spiritual realm. Like, I love crystals. I love doing this stuff. And I myself used to get urged and guided into, I need to touch these cards. I need to touch these cards. No, I really need to do these cards tonight. Like, I have, like, for months and months, I didn't have that anymore. Because when you are so energetically just kaput, you don't get that anymore. You're not in tune with yourself. And the only reason I bring this up is because you're not in tune with yourself. And the more that you let your life get dictated by numbers as well, the more that you lose that connection with yourself. I don't know how I feel. I don't know. Like, I can't read my feelings. Like, so many people don't even know how they feel anymore because they're so busy chasing something. And you say to yourself that I am all about feelings. I always want you to talk about how you feel about this and that. And when you struggle, how does that make you feel? When you win, how does that make you feel? Cool, you just did this workout and you wrote these weights and you increased. How does that make you feel? Like, it's not always all the time, but getting reminded to always tune into that, because it is about being vulnerable. Being vulnerable in the fact that, okay, you can do so much more. You're not doing enough. Kick your ass up. Or being vulnerable in, you need to slow the hell down because you're doing too much. There are two sides to every single equation. But back to the vision thing as well is, don't put a timeline into how long it takes you to build that vision. And that was my biggest mistake, because I used to put so much hope on January 1st. And I'd be okay for a while, and then I'd be like, ugh. And I struggled so much more. But now I use a month to create my own vision. But then I realized, okay, sometimes some things won't work out. Like 2 years ago, I had these numbers that I wanted to hit for squat, bench, and deadlift. That changed halfway through the year. And I don't even care about what I hit anymore, because it's not about the weight on the bar. It's about how you lift it. And since I took that away from my training, I enjoy my training more, because I'm not always trying to add load to the bar. Like, when what I do is I use my previous history to gauge where I start, and I know where I ended, and I try to end at the same place. But if I can't, using the tempo and the form and actually feeling everything, that I don't, because that's still progress in itself. But it's really zooming out. And I guess I want you to sum it up with this whole resilience thing, being vulnerable, and anything else that you want to bring to this conversation, because we covered so much, and I try to cover so much on my end to give it that little, like, context thing and how other people.
I think what it boils down to for me is your fear, being, talking about energy and being an energy sensitive. And I guess going through what I've gone through, it's, really tuning into the body and what it needs. I think that's really important when you come to realize that your feelings matter, your energy matters to you as well. But it's also about paying attention to the signs within your body. So it's, when you take that time to focus your energy on your feelings and wanting to create more of this, what you want in life. You want to feel more passion, you want to feel more growth, you want to feel more expansion. It's focusing on those little wins that create that, and it creates more of that. So your feelings are your creative force. That's what creates more. So, for me, it's not so much the, I think I said to you, it's not so much the goal itself, it's what I want to create, because there might be something even bigger or better, but that's going to create more of how you want to feel. And when it boils down to, it's actually, it's inside of you. It's how you want to feel. It's not a little, I reached 30 kilo deadlift or whatever. It's how you want to feel. You want to feel good in your body. You want to feel confident in your body. And that's what's important. It's about focusing on what, creating more of those wins, creating that momentum, that energy within you to build more of that. And then you'll surpass your goals well and truly. That's what I believe anyway.
I love that so much. And like I said, so many people never get to where they want to be, and they'll keep yo-yoing, they'll keep getting stuck. Motivation is the issue with everyone. Consistency is the issue with everyone. I put a poll up on my Instagram, and 90% of people said that it's motivation. And then I did another poll, and out of that one, there were 89% I should say, that said consistency. And it all comes down to exactly what you said. She had a goal as a direction, but she didn't care about the goal. She cared about the process, about the feeling, about the creating. We are humans. We are not robots. We are not test subjects or test rats in a study. There are too many things that impact our everyday. And this is why even studies have nuance, because there is so much to the human complexity, the behaviors, the thoughts, the processing. Like, our history is so much different than the next person's history. And every phase you go through in life, even if they're similar, they will never be the same. It is so important for you to realize this in your journey, because as soon as you can, it's never too late. But as soon as you can let go of that outcome, you will finally get to the goal results that you want. But at the same time, you never will, because you will keep wanting to see what's more, what's there. If you start to become your best self. And that's why I ensure my role as a coach is, which I can't wait to do more in 2022, because I promised myself I wouldn't do any in 2021 after doing like three massive mentorships in a row. But it's packing my toolbox of knowledge, of tools to help anyone in any phase, because it's useless just using a hammer for a screw or for a bloody thing that doesn't even need to be hit. Like, you can use a hammer to hammer a nail or to hammer your dick with. I heard that on a podcast, and I use it all the time now. And the other one is, we all on average have one boob and one ball, or half a testicle. Like, we are all, like, if you take men and women in general, we're all one boob, like just the half of us. Like, everyone is so different. There is a little bit of us, and like, we need our yin with our yang pretty much as well. And I think that really sums it up. Like, restriction without restriction, it's about stress, it's about the nutrition, it's not even about restriction, it's about flexible restraint. It's about being flexible in your approach, but being controlled with that, knowing when you need to pull back, when you need to push forward, knowing to be vulnerable. It's realizing that holding yourself back from posting that post, from being like, from actually starting that first step to create a network, to get out there, is really holding yourself back from yourself. Because something that I didn't touch on, but just hearing Sharon speak to me here today, which she probably would have never done in the past, is in doing this step, she has not only been able to be more confident in pursuing her goals and sticking to her goals, but in doing this step, she is actually a more vibrant, more charismatic person, because she isn't just keeping to herself. She's wanting to communicate more. And I created a group with her and two other girls that are going through the same thing. And this is the final note that I wanted to end on. And that's, as soon as I created this group of all three major stress heads together, one of the girls said, "Oh my God, what the hell? There's someone else there like me. There's someone else that is going through the same thing as me. Oh God, I hope not. I hope no one else is experiencing what I'm experiencing." And then they started chatting. Like, too many people feel like they're alone in their struggles. And I'm here to tell you, you never are. It's just that you're one of those a million people that never want to speak out. So think about it that way. It's not that you're the only one. It's that everyone else is playing this shadow game, playing this shame game. Stop blaming, stop shaming, and start making the decision now to take the next best step of your life. This is why I'm an integrative coach. Like, you need an integrative approach. You need an integrative approach. Your body, I did this episode with Husk ages ago, if you listen to the podcast, but You cannot separate any of the body systems. They all work together. The mind, the physiology, the hormones, the biology, like all of these different elements work together to create the you. You can't block them out. It's absurd. So with that, I thank you so much for coming on. And
Thank you.
I just want to say I'm so proud of you, and you will see
Thank you.
when I get these photos up, because she's got one or two more weeks. I have it in my calendar. She's got one more or 2 more weeks left in this fat loss phase, and you will see the transformation she has made from not focusing on a transformation, because we focused on the quality first. We focused on getting her body healthy first. And it wasn't until 3 weeks ago, when we made this breakthrough, that I'm like, okay, you know what? Next week, you're starting this fat loss phase. And we put her into a fat loss phase straight away, because she can handle it now. And at the end of this, I will show you her body transformation so far. Along with this podcast, you'll be like, okay, I can see it, Ruby. I can see it, Ruby. Stress, lifestyle factors, it is so overlooked. So with that.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.